Welcome to my
Okay.
show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Anne Jorunn Syvertsen. Mrs. Anne, how are you doing, ma?
Thank you for having me. I'm really, really good today. The sun is shining. I was able to be outside in my garden a little bit, and I'm just so happy to get to experience another day, actually, because I cannot always take the next day for like just given.
That is the beauty
So,
of life.
but
That is the beauty of
it
life,
is.
to get grateful, to see another beautiful day, and to experience it naturally. It is very, very overall and it's so calming on its own way. Firstly, you are an author. You are
Yeah.
also a former radio journalist. Can you please, Mrs. Anne, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mrs. Anne?
Yeah, my life has been quite interesting, quite challenging, and a lot of people would say you that I have had like a rough life in the meaning of having so much pain. Um, I live in Norway, so I live here when we don't have like summer all year round. But again, we don't have polar bears in our streets where I live. I live in the south of Norway. I grew up here, had a beautiful childhood. My parents, they were so good. They had so much wisdom, and they also taught me and my two siblings how it is to really appreciate one another and to appreciate what we have been given, and also to give grace and to give thanks to the Lord. I took my MTP in radio, so I was working in radio for close to 20 years. After that, I had my own travel event company where I planned to travel for groups going like all over the world. And I was also a tour guide with them for a lot of years. So I have been walking on the Great Wall of China. I have been there at the Niagara Falls in Canada. I have seen the wall that divided Berlin once. Uh, I have experienced so much, and I was so grateful, and I was thanking the Lord for everything. It was like when I was waking in the radio, I said, Lord, is it possible to get more thankful, to get more opportunities in life? And then I transferred over to the tourist business, and it was like, how is this possible? I thought I was blessed before, but this is like, I just couldn't even begin to tell how grateful I was. And then within a month, God took it all away. I have had some pain in my body since was quite young. And I knew that that pain would kind of say catch up with me when my body grew older. And my plan was that that was going to happen when I was like 80, 85, maybe 90 years old, not when I was 42, not when my company was blossoming and shooting through the roof. And I just had to close everything down. So in 2016, I closed down my company. I couldn't do anything more. Um, I became disabled. And that's where I am today. I have been disabled now since actually 2016, and I had to learn to live my life in a completely new way. A life that had no manual, a life that were no guidelines in how to live it. And I had to actually start from scratch again and see, where am I? What can I do? How is my life? What do I want to do with it? Yeah.
Hmm. That is very, very touching, to be honest, Mrs. Anne. To get to a point where
Mm.
everything was feeling great, Everything was perfect. Everything was feeling a sense of grace to get to a point whereby everything just evaporates. And that reminds us that sometimes in life, things are really tough, and it is the way we actually deal with these hard times is the way we actually, we are going to see ourselves in the coming future. And I'm so glad that you actually handled the situation well, and even despite the loss you had financially, ups and
Mm,
down, even as a radio journalist and stuff like that, every single one of it that you've lost, I think you still have the sense of positivity. You still have the sense of giving, showing love and care.
mm.
And that is why you brought the perspective of even writing a book towards heaven. Can you please, Mrs. Anne, discuss more on that book? And do you also plan to write more books in the coming future, Mrs. Anne?
Um, I have, with this book, I have already written 7 books, and all my books are in Norwegian and in English. Um, and yes, I guess there will be more books in the future too. It seems like I have more on the inside of me that wants to come out in the form of a book. And I think that was what eventually, when I lost, as you also said, I lost a lot. I lost my work. I lost a lot of my abilities. There were a lot of things that I could not do anymore. And that is something that is really, really hard for every person who find himself in a situation that you don't want to be in. You can have been in an accident and you got sick for some reason. You were out on the street and all of a sudden somebody just, punched you, and it was blind violence. I mean, there were so many things that just happens for no good reason, but they still happens. And for me, it was actually a grieving process because I needed to acknowledge what I had lost. It's like when you lose somebody who died. I mean, you stand there and all of a sudden you have to live the rest of your life without that person whom you care so much for. You have to live your life with new possibilities from what you had before. I had to start learning to live my life without being able to walk the Great Wall of China anymore. I had to learn how to live with not being able to just jump on a bus and say, hey, we are going to France for 2 weeks. And it's hard for a human being to just find yourself there. And for me as a Christian, and for many Christians, it has also been challenging because, you know, when I hear as a Christian and I pray to God, and I prayed so often, God, can you please heal me? Why did this happen? Why did I have to suffer all of this? And to many Christians, it has been a double burden. Just as a person learning to live with your new limitations, and for me, and for many, to live a life where we don't get physically healed. We read in the Bible that Jesus healed people. We hear about people who are getting healed, and all of a sudden, a lame person can walk again. A deaf person can hear again. I mean, and there I was. I was not getting physically healed. And there were so many whys. Why me? Why did this happen? And I was so mad. Oh my goodness, you won't believe how mad I was. I was so mad at God. And you know what? I even told God. It's kind of embarrassing, but I did. I said, God, if you are taking me out of all this job and this work I did for you when I was a tourist guide and could live there as a Christian and be a testimony with my life, if you take me out of that, you are making your biggest mistake because I was where you wanted me. And it was like God said, yeah, I know, but you're not doing that anymore. But I was like, God, I want to. I still want to do it. But God said, you're done. That part of your life, you're done. There is a new season coming. And I think that was actually what it was. I didn't get like epiphany, and I didn't all of a sudden got like being okay with my situation. I think to me, it was more like a dawning to be there and to live and to realize, first of all, God has not forgotten about me. Second of all, I was so valuable the way I was. And thirdly, God could use me with my new limitations because my new limitations became my new possibilities. And that is what I want other people to see too, that no matter what kind of limitations are around your life, they are new possibilities for you to go into a new season of your life, living those limitations and use them for your advantage, not as a hindrance, but as a new advantage. Mm,
Very
yeah.
inspiring, Mrs. Anne.
Mhm.
And it shows how beautiful the story is. Sometimes we are given the grace, and that is how this life is. And in our time today, a lot of people do not understand it that in this life, in a slip of a second, every single thing that we work for might not be what we work for. And that is why we have to continue to have this belief that, we are not here for life. Every single thing we have in life, every single thing we are developing in life, doing in life is just a matter of time. Every single thing we are having, there was a time we have a technology whereby there was no application, there was not even something called visual communication like this, but now we
Yeah.
have it. And that is how life is. Everything continues to evolve. Even to be honest, even as you have been a person whereby things have really turned around, that's even give a sense of space to another person who we do not even know currently, that is also enjoying those things you've enjoyed that time. And also, there will also be an end point. We as humans just have to try our best to know how we could understand this and try our best to be grateful no matter how things are. Because sometimes it's gonna be really, really tough. Do you want to say something, Mrs. Anne?
Yeah, I think that is so correct what you're saying right now, because we only know two things about life. We are born and we are gonna die. That's the only two certainties of our life. Everything in between there is what we make it to be, sort of. That is what we can fill with what we do every day. It's like when you go to a graveyard, you see a tombstone and you see a name and you see two dates, and there is this little sign, this little dot in between there. And that little dot in between when we're born and when we die, that's up to us how, in many ways, how we want to take on the challenges that we face. I think all people will have some kind of challenges. Some have more, some have less. And uh, sometimes I say that we, and I mean also me, we and I who have like bigger problems, heavier life, having bigger burdens, for me, even the smallest joy can be big. Many times for people who have close to no burdens, close to no heaviness in their life, even a big joy for them can sometimes just be small, because we are formed by the life we are living, and it's up to us to try to live that to the best of our abilities. And for me as a Christian, when I was working in the radio stations beforehand, and when I did all this tourist business and all of that, um, I was serving the Lord. And we are always serving, but the services changes. But I'm always serving, but the services, they could change. And for me, it changed into a new season, into new possibilities of life that gave me, amongst a lot of beautiful things, this moment that we shared together. Because this, I mean, how on earth can this be? We were brought together with technology that we can use for serving the good and spreading possibilities and opportunities. So that's really important and really a big possibility.
And I totally agree with you, Mrs. Anne. It is a very, very big possibility. And that is why in our life today, we have to just try our best to live a sense of humility. You also said it. We'll come and we'll leave. And every single thing we think we have around us is just a matter of time. And that is why I'm so glad you said no matter how little we are, we should be grateful and we should be thankful for it. Because that is what will make us to stay more grounded. We do know that sometimes what we see around us, some people will want to, sometimes as a person here in my country, sometimes some people just want to show some sense of, our belonging, stuff like that. It doesn't matter. We are all beings. We should just be, no matter how little it is, we should be happy with it and we should be very, very grateful. Even I am also a very big Christian who really connects with God, and also every single thing I do, I put it in the hand of Christ. Is not easy, and we have to try our best to know what we can do to be more grateful for the little we have, so that more will come. And if it doesn't come, then there is no worries about that. This is very, very necessary, and I'm so glad that you understand that and you've developing more things to do more positive and great things in the life you find yourself. And also, people usually feel like, in this life that we are, and that is what many people have today. They feel like these challenges I am facing, I am the only one facing it, or I am the one facing, only the person facing this issue. People have that mentality because every single thing we see around us are positivity, positivity, positivity. We do not see that negativity doesn't come out sometimes, and people feel like when the problem comes, they feel like I think I'm the only one facing this thing, and that is why probably maybe that's why probably the increase of suicidal rates has increased, the increase of anxiety, trauma, drugs. Hey, many youth are using drugs now, like it's very high. So how do you think, what will you say to someone who you think or you feel, or who you think they feel that they are carrying a heavy cross than others? What can you just say to them, Mrs. Anne?
I I think I have been asked many times, would you like to be physically healed? Would you like to not carry this heavy burden that I am carrying every day? I am in pain. I have physically, but invisible pain. I don't remember what it is to be pain free. I don't remember anymore what it is to not have a headache and a migraine, because it is so frequent. It comes like I live my pain 24/7, and I know how hard it can be. I myself was on the brink of giving up because I felt, God, I can't take no more. This is too much. Can't you just let me die because I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to deal with it. And the only thing that sustained me through everything that I went through was that I knew and I know that God did not forget about me. Jesus stays every day. Every day when I'm crying from pain, every day when I'm smiling and find that the sunshine is beautiful, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, every month, every week, there is something that is constant, and that is His love for me. And I think if I didn't have God in my life, I don't know what I would have done, because that would have been too hard and too way too difficult. But I realized and I experienced it. I know it for a fact. Jesus stays every day. That's what I want people to know. You're not alone with carry a heavy burden. We are many who can be there for one another. And that is exactly what my book is about. It is to say to somebody, hey, you know what? I understand a little bit of what you're going through. I don't know exactly what your pain is, but I have been crying in despair. I have been struggling. I have been questioning. Maybe we can help one another.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Anne, for that beautiful insight. There's a quote that I say, true happiness come from the divine, what we connect to, and most especially Christ, His mother, and also how we could try our best to connect with it. Because, a lot of people are in a position whereby they have been triggered that I have to go through this person to connect with Christ. We do not have to do that. We have to try our best to connect directly with Christ, because true happiness comes from something we can't even physically see. It's something we can feel, because that is what we continue to, give us this sense of joy, this sense of calmness, no matter how difficult. Because sometimes it will just be difficult and heavy. No matter how difficult it is, when we sit down and say, God, put me through, we
Yeah.
just see everything just calm down. And that is what I do, because yeah, I even connect seriously, because I do know that it is not easy. A lot of things, even most of the study, the background and every single thing, we have to just try our best to know how we could connect, because the true happiness is not from all what we have. It's not from those huge followers. It's not from those huge things we put outside and people say, that is not where the happiness is. It's with something we can't even see and feel. And most especially, we have to know how to connect with it and try our best to see how we could connect and stay more happy. And we have to understand we are not always alone. I usually say it very well. Every single person have what he or she is passing through, whether it's small, whether it's huge. I myself as a person have what I am passing through, and that is how life is. We just have to try our best to know we could deal with it. It's how we deal with it. That is what really matters. And I'm honestly happy that you, as a person, even in a place from Norway, you try your best to deal with it in a more responsible manner, because it is not easy when a lot of things are just in the light, and everything just stop. It gives this kind of anxiety, this kind of pressure at times. It is not always easy. But when we connect and we talk to it, is to give us that sense of calmness, and that is why I'm glad that you understand that better. Because true happiness, it comes from the real divine, that is Christ, and whoever we can connect to. That is where the true happiness comes from. Also, Mrs. Anne, there is a question I normally ask during the end of the show. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mrs. Anne, what do you think that thing would be, Mrs. Anne?
I would really like us to have that connection with one another, uh, to see people like face to face, not always with just a cell phone or a tablet in our hands, I want to sit down and have a good old fashioned talk with somebody. Just walk down the street of whatever city it is. Just take off my shoes and walk barefoot in the sand together with a friend, together with some in my family. I think we have lost the connection in our day to day. And I think that is also why when we face hard times, we kind of feel so lost because we don't have that uh, bond of people around us that we know where we can get help from. We are just like individuals. I want us to come back to being like families, to be friends, to be persons who care for one another. And also, then we are able to help one another when some of us faces challenges, because we all will in some way. But to have someone to lean on when it is difficult, to have someone that you can come and you can just cry and say, you know what, today I can't even begin to explain what's going on, but can I just sit here with you for a while? That I think can help us, especially we who know the divine, especially us who can be the light in this world. Let us shine. Let us be there. Don't be embarrassed of who you are, because you are so perfect the way you are. You know what? If God had wanted you different, He would have created you differently. You are His divine creature, and you are His most precious person on earth. And know it, not just hear it, but let it sink into your heart how valuable you are with all your cracks, with all your limitations. They are just new possibilities. Because if you hadn't had that hard time, you might not be able to help another person who are facing that. God is never asking you to do something that you cannot do. God never asks you, what would you have liked to have? What would you wish for? God is only asking you one question. What do you have as that you can bring to Him? What do I have in my life right now? And for me, it is the opportunity of writing books and hopefully encourage and give somebody else some hope.
And I am 100% glad you are doing that. I'm very glad that that is giving you the time to do a lot of things to keep yourself busy and to do something that is more positive to impact the society as a whole. The world is more isolated, as in it is not easy. And it is during the time that we feel down. That is when we need to bring out, that is why we need to bring back connection and humanity, connecting with nature and community. Because that is just the truth. We 100% face some kind of downtime. And that is when we will know the value of having the sense of connection, connecting with one another, having the sense of family and love. And we have to try our best because we think the social media is great. We do know everything is great. It brings the possibility for us to connect with one another around the world, but through happiness. And when we have some kind of anxiety, we have to know who we can lean on to. And that is why we need the sense of community, family, and friendship. We hope it comes back. We hope we come back to that time because that is how it has always been, but we hope that it's something that comes back because it is not easy. And that is what is causing a lot of rise in something that we are not expecting. And the future, when it continues like that, it might not be really good because we might not reflect now. It might be in the next 20, 25, even 50 years. All these things that are happening start to reflect. And we do not want it to be something that we humans cannot even bear and even handle. We have to try our best to work on ourselves now, connect with ourselves, and give the sense of love and kindness. It cannot take anything away from us. It will just make us to be more happier and give the sense of connection. I also want to use this opportunity to thank you for the time and the opportunity. I am so glad that you are happy, you are doing what is right, you are doing what you know could make you happy, and it has been working well for you. Thank you so much for the time and the opportunity today. I honestly appreciate Mrs. Anne. Thank you so much, Mrs. Anne.
And thank you so much for having me here and to be able to share that there are possibilities, there is hope, and we just have to share it with those who need it.
Yeah, completely agree. Have a wonderful day, Mrs. Anne. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye.